probably close to 7 or 8 years ago. And I know a lot of you have devotions to St. Anthony for various reasons, but what some of you may not know is that there was a Eucharistic miracle associated to St. Anthony. And the story goes like this. St. Anthony lived in the 13th century. He was a contemporary of St. Francis of Assisi. Powerful preacher of his own time. Known for his miracles. He was a wonder-working saint in his own day. Well, there was a gentleman in this one town, I forget where, that was a very wealthy merchant. And he thought the church was a bunch of hooey and this, just ridiculous, you know. He would have made a good 21st century person, you know what I mean? Just completely agnostic about the whole thing. And he challenged, basically, St. Anthony over the belief in the real presence of Jesus in the Eucharist. And St. Anthony took up the challenge. And basically it was this. He said this rich merchant was going to starve his mule for 3 days. Starve him for 3 days. And after 3 days, they were going to meet in the town square. And St. Anthony was going to come out with the Eucharist. And he basically said he's going to show that the animal has a better knowledge of the Eucharist than you do. And what happened in the course of this is that after St. Anthony went on a fast for 3 days, by the way, in preparation for this challenge. Because it was going to be it was a public thing. Everyone was in the public square to see this challenge. And so after the 3 days, the merchant brought out the mule. St. Anthony brought out the host in a monstrance. He lifted it up in front of the mule and basically said, "O creature of God, pay homage to your Creator." And immediately, the mule went on its front knees in front of the Eucharist, even though the rich merchant had oats on both sides of him to try and tempt him away from it. He completely ignored the oats and knelt and stayed that way in front of the host. And when the merchant saw this, he immediately repented and converted, as did many others in the crowd. And that's all, and it's called the miracle of the mule and St. Anthony. So I found an old silent movie rendition of this, so I just want to show it to you. It's about 5 minutes long. Cute. Oops, go back. There we go. everyone in the town came out to see what was going to happen. That's the story, and that's the depiction of the miracle as it happened. And everyone was amazed, and the man converted. That's the good news of it. Because of this, he was an atheist, and blah, 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 blah. And because of this miracle with St. Anthony, he converted. And I thought it was just a cute little way of depicting.
St. Anthony also helps you find lost things.
Yes, that I know he's used or asked for that purpose. That's how most people pray to St. Anthony. But I think he's a very powerful saint, and I can attest to that in my own life. Just very to convince me. He's a remarkable preacher. So I give all the credit to God through St. Anthony. His miraculous intervention. I have a much greater appreciation for and understanding, personal experience with the communion of saints because of him, that I really struggled with in my conversion process. So, but that's another story. So I just wanted to show that. So that's one Eucharistic miracle. You go, well, you know that.
It was good.
What's Luke?
It was good.
Oh, good. Yes, I thought so too. You know, you can say, well, you know, those people in the Middle Ages, they'll just make this stuff up, you know. Oh, push. Okay, well, fine. Now let's talk about some actual miracles of the Eucharist. And this is more of the film that mostly veterans have seen. We will look at 3 basic miracles for the time that we have. So this is what...
Know that. We need to receive.
Let's start it from the beginning.
Hello. I'm Mother Angelica of the Eternal Word Television Network, and I'm very excited about this program and the programs you're about to see. There is one sacrament that is so precious to all Catholics, and that is the real presence of Jesus in the Holy Eucharist. We need to know that. We need to receive him with perfect faith. We need to understand that our faith must increase, the faith in his real presence. Well, Bob and Penny Lord have done us all a great service because they've gone all over the world and they've gotten documentation on the real presence, the miracles that have happened and happen very often, even today.
I myself am the living bread come down from heaven. If anyone eats this bread, he shall live forever. The bread I will give is my flesh, for the life of the world. Throughout the ages, the Church has carried out the command that Jesus gave to his disciples. Give ye them to eat.
est enim corpus meum.
This is a tribute to those special moments in history where it pleased God to accentuate the significance of the celebration of his death and resurrection by performing a miracle. Eucharistic miracles are by no means exceptions, yet each one took place for a reason. Come with us to Italy, where we shall visit Eucharistic miracles in places such as Lanciano, Bolsena, and Orvieto, Cassia and Siena. Our hosts are Bob and Penny Lord, authors of the book Miracles of the Eucharist. For those who believe, no explanation is necessary. For those who do not believe, no explanation is possible.
I don't think we would be able to do what we are doing if we didn't have that deep union with him in the Eucharist, because our love for Jesus is more intimate. Our love for each other, more understanding. Our love for the poor, more compassionate. And we have doubled the number of vocations. God has blessed us with many, many vocations. And I think that's the fruit of the tenderness of God, Jesus' love for us, the Eucharist.
The testimonies of those representing the Church did and do not always echo the same quiet assurance of Mother Teresa's words. Yet, in many instances of doubt, God intervened.
We're here at the shrine of the miracle of the Eucharist of Lanciano in Italy, the first recorded miracle of the Eucharist in the history of the Church. In about the year 700 AD, a Basilian monk, wise in the ways of the world but not in the ways of faith, was having doubts about the real presence of Jesus in the Eucharist. And so one day, as he was celebrating Mass for the people of the parish of Lanciano, as he raised the host in consecration, the host turned into flesh, living flesh, and the wine turned into blood.
He turned to the people and confessed his doubts and told them of this wonderful God who loved him so much that he manifested himself in this miraculous form that not only that he could believe, but that they would believe. And the word spread. People came from all parts of Italy when they found out about their Lord. They knew they had a miracle.
When this miracle happened, the priest's faith was renewed. And so the Lord's work had been accomplished. He did what he set out to do. A renewal of veneration to the Eucharist spread all over Italy.
Why is this miracle here today? Why has science been used by the Lord to prove what we Catholics have believed for 2,000 years in faith? When they tested this flesh, science found that this flesh was human flesh. This blood was human blood. And the blood type of the flesh and the blood is AB.
If you were to cut yourself and bleed and stain your shirt, within 15 minutes it loses all the chemical qualities of blood. We had heard that, but then we verified it at our local hospital. And they said, yes, not only is that true, but the blood that you give and they put in the plastic bags, If we don't refrigerate that, within 1 hour it begins to break down and you have nothing but red liquid. They took a particle of the petrified blood and liquefied it during these tests. And they found that it had all the proteins and chemicals of freshly shed blood, 1,300 years old. Also during the test, when they tested the slice of the heart, rigor mortis had not set in. It was determined that the slice of the heart was a living heart.
What is our Lord saying? Are there priests today who have lost their belief in the real presence of Jesus in the Eucharist? Do you truly believe that Jesus is present? When was the last time that you came to church to visit him in the Blessed Sacrament? Do you go to Mass? Do you believe? Has this miracle been left for you, that your heart might burn as you go up to receive your Lord, his love, his heart, his blood, precious just for you?
I want to interject something here about this particular miracle. When they're talking about slice of the heart and all that stuff, what are they talking about? In 1972, I believe it was, the Vatican approved a scientific investigation into this Eucharistic miracle. So they got scientists and doctors to analyze what this was. And their conclusions were this.